So the sensation of lack is the base of a lot of sickness. The delusion that I'm lacking something. Whether it is that I'm lacking support, that I'm lacking resources, it is the base of all the sicknesses. In homeopathy, we call it the psoric miasma. So someone that has that sensation of lacking, that would be the soil that will allow to cultivate all the disease. So all the disease, they build up on that soil that something is lacking. So there are some sicknesses that are very, characteristic of the psoric miasma, like all the skin disease. Of course, it could be the expression of a purge of something that's happening inside that want to come outside, but it could be also manifestation of how you feel that you are separated from the world. Your skin is what separates you from the world, right? The skin is that barrier between your internal self and the outside world. If you have a healthy skin, then the separation between you and the world is harmonious. There are exchanges in and out. But when the skin becomes sclerosis, then it means that there is like a perturbation in the exchange. So the sensation of separation is even more, feel more intensively. And it's very important to actually get a deeper insight of that sensation. If you have a sensation of lack anywhere in your life, because you know that that's an invitation for any disease to come and settle in. So you could see it manifested in so many different ways. You could see it even in people who are very rich. They could have that imprint in their transgenealogical, line that, we might miss something. We actually lack something. Sometimes it's the memory of a past generation that went through a very difficult time, through war, or maybe they were lacking food, famines, whatever the parents or grandparents or great-grandparents have been going through and experienced. And sometimes this sensation of lack that has been experienced by your ancestors can be transmitted in your line. And even though today you might not missing anything at all, you might keep this imprint that I'm lacking something.
But our ancestors, let's just say they did lack, right? Like, people do lack. Like, they lacked.
Yes, but you may lack and not feel a lack. You understand? For example, you might not have everything that you need, but you might not experience this as something traumatic. Okay? So for an imprint to be embedded in your DNA, you need to have lived this as something very traumatic. So, for example, some people who are used to live on very little resources and they are happy with this, they might not have this miasma. Like you go to places, villages, in some places, of course not in Western civilization where you need to possess to be something, to be someone. And they live on nothing. They live on leaves, they cultivate leaves, they go fish in the ocean, and this is how they live, and they're happy with it. They don't have the sensation of lack. Understand? But in places where, especially like, for example, people who used to have a lot and lost, they experienced major loss. People who have been displaced, go from one place to another place, having to leave behind them everything, their houses, their possession, and just left to save their life, or really famine. So we are not here judging if it's good or not that these people have allowed this imprint to settle in. We're just saying that you might be holding in your field psoric miasma that come from ancestral line that might not be beneficial for you. So if you're noticing that you are having some behaviors, habits that are motivated by this fear of lacking, then you want to observe it and say, hey, here it looks like this behavior is motivated by a fear of lacking. I know very rich people who would never, who are very cautious before they invest in anything, because they hold that fear of lack, even though it's very unlikely that they will lack anything in their life, because they have a lot. But if they're holding this fear of lack, it will prevent them to invest, to expand, and they have all the intelligence and the talent to do it. And they could have really expanded a lot, but they won't, because this fear of lacking is preventing them. They feel good by seeing their saving accumulating, because this is what compensates for this fear. So instead of using that fortune or that money, that resources to actually expand and build themselves, they are just using it as a compensation for their fear. So it's the same with if some people, it's not with money, it's for support in general. I'm afraid to lack. I'm lacking support in my environment. And so I will never say what I really think to people, because I have this fear of lacking support. And so I accept all kind of, abuse or behaviors or situation, because I have a fear to lack support. That could be also something. It could be a huge self-sabotage, because actually you might never actually lack this support, because you have all the resources, you have all the strengths, you have everything. But if you have that imprint within your field, that you have to be very cautious, because lacking support is a very high threat. These fears are going to determine the choices you're adopting in your life, even though there are not actually any logical reason for these choices. So you want to be aware of what kind of fear you are holding in your field, and the fear of lacking is one of the main ones. So today I wanted you to just, to speak about that, so to raise the awareness about it, and just observe what behavior you might have in your life that are based on that fear.